In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the twin rogga, and we're going to be seeing if they are worth it or not. Yep, there you go. Here they are. I'll show you them in action. Here are the twin roggas. And here's the Vacor Marilock, the Sonic Ore, the Azima, and the Axolotl Prime, which is quote-unquote the best secondary in the game. So if we take a look at Twin Rogga, I put 2 form on it, but I would recommend putting on 4. I'm just low on forma right now, and I actually need to build more. I do have 2 more, but I feel like this build is already going to do enough. They are shotgun pistols, so status isn't going to do what you would imagine it to do. The pellets are going to split up the status chance, and only if you have 100% is when it's really going to be super effective. Of course, we have lethal torrent and barrel diffusion for that 180% multi-shot, which means we have an 80% chance that our gun will shoot three times the pellets, but sometimes it's only 2 times the pellets. Hornet Strike, of course, we got to get this upgraded to our lovely 200% damage, but right now we're not. Convulsion, heated charge, and pathogen rounds. Jolt for the 60% status chance, and electricity damage, and then no return for the extra puncture. You can obviously replace this with concussion rounds, but this just adds to the damage. So, why this build, Hunter? Why would you pick a build like this? If you take a look at the Twin Rogga, these things have a base damage of 300, which is the highest in the game. They only have 2 shots, which we'll get into that just a bit later. 2.50 fire rate. That kind of handles well with the DPS type this gun has. We're going to be talking about that later too. It's mainly puncture and impact, which sucks because it doesn't main it in slash damage. And then we have the reload, which is 1.5 seconds, which is decent. And a crit chance of 10% and a status at 15%, which means you can't really build this weapon for status because you can't get 100%. Unlike Mr. Vacor Marilock here with 35% status and 20% crit chance. Okay, you can fit this out for crit if you really do want to, which I would recommend going barrel diffusion. Also, the 2 forma I added was a V and a dash. So make sure to add those. I added the dash first. That's just me. Hornet Strike for your basic mods. And I think probably go pathogen and convulsion. And if we go here and pick out our, do I not even have a target cracker? I probably don't. But we have a hydraulic crosshair, which doubles our crit chance to 20%, and then target cracker, but prime target cracker prime target cracker would be very, very viable. And this does increase your crit chance to 22%. And you put this here, and it increases that damage. I would recommend putting then a target cracker on it. But once again, the crit chance is not that good on this weapon. That's why I don't recommend taking it. This is the build I have here. We're going to be testing it out on a level 100, level 95 heavy gunner. And this is the first time I've tested it in a late to end game scenario. And the thing about the Twin Roggas is you have to be really up close. Yep. You can already see these things not having much potential. Once you get the corrosive procs in there though, that's when they become useful. But otherwise, no. For a 4 forma build, I would recommend taking off no return and jolt. Recommend taking those 2 off. actually just taking off no return, putting in lethal torrent, another V, and then a dash, so you can put in a cryo round or deep freeze, which that's what I would personally recommend, is putting those two forma in, a V and another V and another dash. So you could put in deep freeze, and then you can still have jolt in there, because I believe it's gonna take it down 5. Right? And then that takes it down 5, so you have 10 extra. Shit. No, you'd have to do a 5 forma build then. Yeah, you have to do a 5 forma build for this thing. You have to put a D polarity in there. That's stupid. Because... yeah. So we'll do it again. We'll do it again, and this time we'll use probably a much smaller unit in terms of armor, which is just the basic Lancer. You'll be facing Grineer most of the time. And this guy, man. So it's a lot better on those lower armor targets. But let me tell you what. This thing is just better off infested. And even though it's mained in puncture and impact damage, you're still going to have a lot better time using something like the, you're on something like the Corpus. So these things also suffer from high damage fall off too. And if you miss a shot, you're gonna lose a lot of damage. Yeah. So would I recommend the Twin Rogga? Honestly, I would, for their fun factor. For any other reason, I would not use these things in terms of end to late game, because you have something like the Stiletto Prime, which has access to 100% crit chance, or status chance, by the way. And so you put like a forma or two in here, just one forma for barrel diffusion, and then you put in another dual stat mod, which probably be jolt. And then so you can hit that kappa. At 99.4% status chance. But we're going to show you the Stiletto Prime versus the something like the Twin Rogga. And you'll see a big difference here. This is a no former build compared to a 2 former build. Yeah. Now I've seen better builds, like a hybrid between crit and status. He was like using Prime Pistol Gambit, Prime Target Cracker with 4 dual stat mods and hydraulic crosshairs and something like that. Or it was corrosive or something like that, and he was using only a full clip to kill like level 120s. Then we have the Vaquar Marilock, which this one is a 3 forma build. And it takes Stunning Speed, Jolt, Frostbite, these 2 mods, Pistol Pestilence, get that corrosive damage in there, get that extra cold, 100% status chance. And you'll have yourself a high damaging secondary weapon. Much better than the Twin Roggas or the Twin Roggas. So, yeah, and in order to make the Twin Roggas very decently viable in a game like Warframe, is put forma into this thing like it's no tomorrow, because you have to max out the damage, or else you're not gonna have a good build. And I'm not even maxing out my damage. I could take off no return and put on something like deep freeze here, which would give me a 90% increase to damage on cold damage. I could put that with heat and make a blast so I could stagger the enemies and I could still keep a jolt in here. It's very, very effective weapon, and I feel like it has more potential than it does right now. And I've seen people go very late game, and I know it goes very, very late game. The only thing I really do like about these weapons is the fact that they're not in duplex auto like the Tiger, so I can actually pace my shots instead of holding down my trigger and then... Yep, I didn't even get to kill him, and it takes so much magazine capacity to where it's just not viable. And I hate to say, like, the twin rogga, like I said, they have a lot of potential to go into very late game, but they're not in-game viable like the Axtiletto or the Vacor Marilock. They're just not. So if you want to use if you want a cheap secondary to build, then yeah, go with the twin roggas. Otherwise, if you have something like the Axtiletto already, yep, didn't even get to activate my warding halo. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, pause, please subscribe, it would make my day. Peace out.